Hello, hello, hello. We are back in Suzerain. After a long absence, I've been dreading coming back to the game. First off, because it's a bit of a strain on my throat, and second off, because I basically know that this run is going to be a wash. I did not min-max in the way that the game wanted me to, so I suspect that the whole situation with Palace is going to go poorly. I don't think I'm going to be able to invade, and because I can't invade, it's going to be like a major political problem for me because I haven't done anything peaceful, so I might lose out on that. I'm gonna try and maybe there's no peaceful option I think left, other than just accepting it. I don't know. Large coal deposits discovered. That's good. Maybe we could offset our loss there, but that's okay. So no survey, no results there. On keys, coastal batteries fire is expanded, docks open. Good. More cargo. A mining survey finishes, large gold deposits discovered. Nice. Chalice, no results in Chalice. Organo, no results in Organo. So we got coal and we got some more gold. Yeah, we don't have a lot. There's a way you can get like some pretty hefty. I think once this finishes, the hydroelectric dam will have a pretty hefty amount of energy. If I knew to go for that earlier, I would have went for that first thing, and then I would have focused on military stuff, because you think a country like Rizia, which is fairly autocratic and is a fairly aggressive foreign policy relative to its neighbors, especially towards like Palace, you'd think they'd have at least a funded military, and they don't. So I don't. It's kind of silly anyway. Yeah, this I don't think this would be enough, especially since I know that large parts of the community have had trouble. Saison levies. Interesting. It had some serious issues with the military system, which I suspect I'm going to have trouble with as well if I do it. So I'm kind of like not... Okay, we already did that. The Mini-Man March, we already read that. Okay, good. So, let's start. Oh, near base finish expansion. Good. And we have a conversation with Lucida Azaro. Lucida and I just concluded our visit to the Terrador Air Force Base. The base's new expansion was truly impressive. The focus I devoted to the Rizian Air Force early in my reign was paying off. There were more officers and airplanes here than I'd ever seen before. Amid the whirlwind of activity, we barely got a chance to speak to each other. On the way back to the motorcade, she asked me to accompany her downtown. The city sustained heavy damage when Rizia reconquered it in the 1920s. Attempts have been made to revitalize it, but several bombed-out derelict buildings still stood in its center. Oh god. So basically it's a hellhole. She ordered our driver to stop in front of the tallest one. It was completely boarded up, and the remains of a fire escape dangled precariously from the 5th story. They really didn't clean this up in like 30 years? Really? In the dimming light of the setting sun, I could just make out an old mural painted on its side. An angular 1920s-style depiction of a Pagliacci, defaced almost beyond recognition. Pretty, but I'm not in the mood for art. Titus, can you go in and secure the area? Where are you taking me, Duchess Azaro? Patience, Your Majesty. She instructed my bodyguard to wait in the car, and led me up to the entrance. Drawing a key from her pocket, she unlocked the door. Flickering lights illuminated the building's decrepit interior. We walked across the uneven concrete floor, stepping around shards of glass, till we came to an elevator shaft guarded by a man in a crisp blue jacket. I noticed a brooch on his lapel shaped like a pair of swords. Oh. I see this is a secret base. Immediately the atmosphere transformed. We were in a chic-looking lounge, its furnishings sleek and understated. The soft strains of jazz filled the air. A handful of patrons were sitting around sipping cocktails. They paid us no mind as we crossed the room into a cozy private booth by the window. What a brilliant... Okay, so we could say, where are we? I think it's a speakeasy, obviously. Some sort of a rich person speakeasy. What a brilliant idea. I'd like a drink. The guard here was wearing an Azaro sigil. Obviously, it's run by the Azaros. Or who are these people? I'm kind of curious about the specifics of it, so I'm going to say the guard here was wearing an Azaro sigil. Of course he was. My family has used this place as a members' club since Rizia took back Pala's administrative district. She smiled ruefully. Until we're ready to go public, this is the closest we can to get a proper date. How many women would be so bold? I love that about you. I still find this ridiculous. I should be able to date my counselors if I want to. Is your father doing any better? Isn't this public? What if someone talks? Um, I don't care if this goes public, and I don't intend to follow this through unless I have to. I'm just keeping her on the leash because I feel like she could potentially be dangerous as my military advisor. So you might as well keep her happy, right? Is your father doing any better? Now that you mention it, I have good news. Bowtide server approached our booth to take our orders. Really? There's no, like, I can't choose wine. Palsian sunset. Sounds good, I'll have the same. Server bowed and left to fetch our drinks. While we were waiting, Lucida gestured out the window. Beyond the twinkling lights of downtown Terrador, a line of steadily flashing beacons marked the border between Rizia and Palace. There it is, the country that gave us so much grief. Yeah, I know. Can't believe we came so close to war. It would have been a terrible mistake. I wish I'd have the nerve to order an invasion. All that hassle, we didn't even get a share of our gas fields. You're disappointed we didn't start a war? I'll go with number 2. I wish I'd have the nerve to order an invasion. I wish I had the troops to order an invasion is really the more accurate statement, but that's fine. All that hassle, we didn't even get a share of the gas field. That's really what I'm still, even now, a little bit salty about. Yes, well, given a lack of investment in the military, our showing would have been quite poor. Better to play it safe than risk losing even more of the country. I took the throne with the aim of avoiding conflict. I'm a lover, not a fighter. She made a sly smile. What's love without a little frisson? But you're right. My family may have wanted under the war the Grand Duchy, but not me. And how is House Azaro feeling? Now that we aren't at war, thank God, Thank God I have such a sensible war counselor. Admit it, some part of you is excited by the idea of crushing Palace to a pulp. And how is House Azaro with the fact that we aren't at war right now? Let's find out. Actually, Your Majesty, Just then, the server returned with our drinks. He placed the drinks on the table, and they garnished with tightening umbrellas. We took our beverages and raised them. Proso. To good health. Still holding my gaze, she took a slow, reflective sip. I wanted to tell you something while we were here. My house has begun to complain to me about the way you've been running the country. Everybody's a critic. Why should I care? Tell them to take it up with my complaint department in the Calibree's prison. I have 3 royal houses to cater to. On top of that, the Rizian public. Can't be all Azaros all the time. I'm not asking for special privileges, only acknowledgement. House Azaro controls the military as well as much of Rizia's industrial production. Okay, so how have they not taken over yet? If they control our military and most of their industrial production. Try to justify your action to the others, but there's only one way. There's only so much I can explain away. Even discounting the opinion of those who believe the palace gas feud should have ended in annexation. I can't. There's no. The military force wasn't there. And I have invested money in the military, so I don't know what to tell you. So there's some who see you as rather relaxed attitude towards the kingdom's national security. That's not true at all, as a de facto front. You're deeply concerned about the violent protests that are erupting recently. I'm doing everything I can. I'd like to see one of your relatives try ruling the country. Let's not even give them the thought. What about you, Duchess? Do you share that criticism? She thought for a moment and spoke in a measured tone. This is good. As a counselor, I'm duty bound to say I support my king. That is not what I wanted to hear. But as your lover, I hope I'm allowed to hold you to account. Whoosh, whoosh. You should know that my father is beginning to make a recovery. If he resumes his position on the Royal Council, I fear he would not be as gentle with his feedback. That old dinosaur on the council will be more of a hindrance than a help. That's amazing news. I'm looking forward to working with him. If he goes against me, he will be punished. I'll just say I'm looking forward to working with him. I'm not going to tell her I'm going to imprison her father. It sounds like a bad idea. The feeling may not be mutual. She shook her head. It's impudent of me to be troubling you with all this. You haven't even touched your drink yet. Thanks, but I'd rather not stay. We should be headed back to the base. While we're here, I think we should stop seeing each other and sip your drink. You know, maybe if I married her, it would lessen the anger of the Azaros, and also I could make a kid, and the kid would then be able to inherit it instead of my daughter, who's basically useless. Even more useless than I was as the party prince, because she's, you know, openly cavorting with the reformists who oppose me. Thanks, I'd rather not stay. We should be headed back to base. I'll just sip my drink. Let's see what she has to say. There's a smooth, tangy mix of dark rum, orange blossom water, and a squeeze of pomegranate syrup. Thank you for the company. I'm ready to leave now. Liquid courage, just what I needed. I'm going to regret ordering this tomorrow. Be smart. No looking back, Your Majesty. Only forward. I love that I can speak with you so openly. I'd love it even more if we find a more intimate venue to continue this conversation. Oh boy. I hope you know that buying me a drink doesn't entitle you or any Rizaro to... Okay, I'm not going to put it that way. That sounds mean. The second one sounds mean. So I guess I have to go with one. Flashed me a knowing smile. Not to be presumptuous, but I have a pass to the VIP suite. And I happen to know it isn't occupied. Oh boy. What's in the VIP suite? Everything a king and his trusted counselor would need for a deep, stimulating strategizing session. Lead the way, I guess. I hope it's not going to be blackmail. That would be bad. Bad workers' rights. Well, I agree they are bad. Okay, what does this say? King visits Tirador Air Base. Great, that's wonderful. I'm happy they're telling me that I visited the airbase. I might not have known otherwise. Got a little bit of authority. We have basically only a little bit of authority, and that's it. Sovereign Memorial Commemoration, the National Mausoleum. National Mausoleum, high in the hills above Port Trezon, embraced me with its stately presence. I was here for the annual Sovereign Memorial Commemoration, a ceremony honoring the former monarchs of Rizia. Having left Hugo in charge of overseeing the event, I had arrived early before the formal ceremony commenced to have a moment to myself. Adorned with statues and inscriptions of monarchs from eras long past, the mausoleum stood as witness to the enduring legacy of Rizia. In its hushed corridors, I sought solace, not as king, but as a man burdened by the echoes of history. I had also come to honor the memory of my late wife, Lena, whose resting place could be found within these hallowed grounds as well. Vina, of course, was by my side. She was holding a bouquet. Feels like we were just here. I miss her so much. We're here because it's what people do. They come, they remember, and then they move on. Yes, but time moves on, so we must as well. It feels like we were just here, doesn't it? Your mother's presence is timeless. It's only right that we revisit this place. We all do, dear. She's always with us within our hearts. Yes, but time moves on, so we must as well. Maybe time moves for you, but for me, it still feels like I'm stuck in the moment that I can't escape. Well, then you can't get married. If you're a child. It was my own pleading that steered us into the storm. We should have never stepped foot on that boat. You were a child. I was in that boat too. I could have saved her life. I know, but the storm wasn't your doing. You need to move past this fixation with what could have been. Can't change the past, blaming yourself for the storm won't bring her back. It's not your fault, Vina. You couldn't have predicted it. It was a tragic accident. But I feel responsible. If I hadn't asked her to go, she would still be here. What do you want me to say? That you were responsible for killing the love of my life? I can say it, but it won't make either of us feel better. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You can't blame yourself for something beyond your control. Your mother wouldn't want you carrying that burden. You still have love for each other. You still have each other. You don't know how scared I was of losing you during the palace incident. Maybe hard to believe, but your mother's death was part of God's plan. You should not question his designs, only trust his wisdom. Your mother wouldn't want you carrying that burden. Tears filled her eyes. I know, but I still can't help but feel that letting go would be letting her down. It wasn't long before we reached her mother's final resting place. Vina set the bouquet in a marble vase next to the sarcophagus. I gathered these roses from the royal gardens. They're the absolute best. We shared a quiet moment without words. I stared at the grave, allowing memories of Vina and of the boat accident to flood my mind. I was on the verge of becoming lost in thought when a voice called from behind me. Oh, it's my mother. Well, there you are. What are you doing here? He hadn't attended a sovereign memorial commemoration since father's passing. At my age, surprises are as rare as non-gray hairs. Don't act as though my presence is some extraordinary revelation. And for the record, I can still navigate these halls without assistance. Thank you very much. Vina, it's so good to see you. You're looking as lovely as ever. You too. Vina went to her and they exchanged a brief embrace. Her eyes swept across the room, coming to rest on Lena's grave. Forgive my lack of decorum. I should treat this day with the gravity it deserves. Gradually, she drew near, her eyes conveying unexpressed sentiments. She reached out and took Vina's hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. She was an extraordinary woman, your mother. I'd even go as far to say that she was like a daughter to me. I wish I'd known her as well as you do. Grandma was exaggerating, Vina. She didn't know your mother at all. Really, mother? Like a daughter? You never met a noble woman you did disparage. I don't know you felt that way about her. Lena won over every person she met, even prickly queen consorts. Let's quote that one. Ha! I confess it took me a while to get over my prejudices about Rumburgian nobles. It's true. I did grow to love her dearly. She smiled in fond recollection. I remember the exact moment my feelings towards her changed. It was right after the Civil War broke out in Wayland. You two were at Palace Resna for dinner, and Vina and I absconded for tea after you and your father went to talk. Up to that point, I was adamant that Rizia should accept as few Wessex refugees as possible, but as I spoke to your late wife about the situation, she made such a convincing case for empathy and kindness that I was literally moved to tears. She had a way of seeing past politics, straight to the heart of the matter. The very next day, I persuaded Valero to open our borders. What a mistake that was. There were tears in Vina's eyes. That was beautiful. I had no idea. That sounds like her putting compassion ahead of common sense. Can't say that. You described her exactly. Every time I make a royal decision, try to see the main side of it. Lena was naive. She didn't think about the full implications of welcoming all those foreigners. I mean, we can lie and just say that we do that. Who knows what insight she would have to contribute if she were alive today. I know she would have been proud of the person you become, Vina. Despite Vina's attempts to conceal her emotions, the subtle quiver on her lips and deep sigh betrayed her inner turmoil. Please excuse me. Vina hurried out of the room before anyone could respond. Losing a parent is hard, especially when they love you as much as Vina's mother loved her. Speaking of love, about time we considered wedding bells for Vina if we want to ensure the continuation of our lineage. I couldn't agree more. However, it seems this kingdom is lacking suitable men of good stature. Vina's free to marry whomever she chooses, and hell no. I agree, unfortunately, despite rejecting their courtship. No, she's not going to go with Manus. I will refuse that. I keep coming back to the same answer. The only way to continue our sure stability is to marry her off within House Taurus. Mess with lacking in suitable candidates. Aliz. In case you're wondering, which I know you are, I'm here to finally pay your father a visit after finding this. Mother reached into her handbag and held up a weathered envelope. Take the envelope. A love letter from your father? Oh, great. Oh, how thoughtful. She took the envelope back. It seemed only fitting. Come, let us honor him together. Made her way down the great hall, past the resting places of the great leaders, and some not so great that came before me. It wasn't long before the light from the eternal flame, a single torch, placed at the late king's sarcophagus symbolizing a monarch's enduring reign, guided us the rest of the way. As we neared, our mother's pace slowed as if an overwhelming wave of memories pressed upon her. Are we doing this, or what? Is this becoming too much for you? I understand. You alright? Say nothing. You alright? Yes, I've never been better. Flame's flickering glow cast dancing shadows in the path. We stopped just before we reached my father's stone encasing. There you are. We both fell silent. In the royal tradition, deceased kings were initially entombed here. However, upon the passing of the succeeding monarch, a solemn ritual was observed, relocating the late king to rest alongside their forebears. If you don't mind, I'd like to say a few words to your father. I'll give you some privacy. I gave her some space to allow a moment between the two of them. She spoke to him in a hushed whisper, for much longer than I expected. Whatever she had to say was evidently meaningful, perhaps something that she had been holding back, especially considering their strained relationship for most of his life. When she was finished, she took out a love letter and placed it on the lid of the sarcophagus. Took this as my cue to return. Made rest within him, carrying the memories of a cherished connection and the legacy he left behind. I find comfort in knowing that his legacy lives on, but it doesn't change the pain of his absence. Memories and legacies are just illusions in the grand scheme. What matters is the present. What's the use of a legacy if it doesn't change anything for the living? Actions of the present matter more than memories. Legacy. I doubt history will be very kind. What matters is the present. Sometimes acknowledging the past can guide us towards a better tomorrow. A reminder to choose our path of care. Unfortunately, my father's and my legacies are intertwined. Heavy burden to bear, named forever stained by the judgments of time. Legacies are shaped by more than just deeds. What you make of the name matters just as much. Legacy, I'm more interested in the here and now. What matters is what I do, not what the name did. I actually speak louder than any family name. I'll forge my path, legacy be damned. I'll ensure the name stands strong, even if it means shouldering the weight alone. You can't escape the shadows of its choices, no matter what path I forge. Legacy, I'm more interested in the here and now. But you're not just living for yourself. A family name is part of you, and its heritage is in your hands. I take pride in the Taurus name and am committed to upholding the values that define our family's rich heritage. I'm aware of the impact a name can have. My actions will reflect the values I hold and the path I choose for my family, just as God intended. Perhaps, but I'll paint a legacy that transcends any failings and shortcomings of the past. I'm aware of the impact a name can have. My actions will reflect the values I hold and the path I chose for our family, just as God intended. Glad you're mindful of your duty, yet the road ahead requires careful steps. You have the power to redefine what it means to bear the name Taurus. Sometimes the most profound responsibilities are the ones we inherit, not by choice, but by destiny. Indeed, they are, like divine threads in a grand design, guiding us forward to a purpose beyond our choosing. Much like Father, inheritances come in many forms. I'll embrace whatever responsibilities destiny throws at me, be it triumphs or defeats. Much like my father, I've never been one to rely on destiny. The path my father forged is a testament to the choices he's made, not fate dictating our journey, especially not mine. Destiny or not, I'll try to leave a legacy that stands apart from the mistakes of my father. I've never been one to rely on destiny. The path my father forged is a testament to the choices he made, not the fate dictating our journey, especially not mine. Bringing zeal into our fold will rectify his mistakes. His surrender of zeal is one of the greatest tragedies of our time. That's why I'm willing to do anything and everything to see it returned by any means necessary. Reclaiming zeal, God willing, will honor his memory by finishing what he started. Let's go with that one. That sounds nice. Noble resolve indeed. Your words would have been a source of pride for him, as they are with me. However, I can't say the same across the board. I heard whispers about your escapades with House of Zorro, family harboring their own ambitions regarding the throne, and you know how risky rumors can be. Risk is coming from the person who secretly practiced blasphemous religion right out of my nose, or so the rumors say. I do hear rumors. I do hear whispers. Whispers speak of a queen secretly practicing dastardity on the guise of being a devout follower of Rurikism. That doesn't epitomize risky behavior? I'm not sure what does. Speaking of risk, I have to ask, how do you foresee the public responding if it's uncovered that Her Majesty Queen Estella clandestinely adheres to dastardity? I too hear whispers. A sharp intake of breath escaped her lips as the unexpected revelation hit her. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, that's a relief. I guess I can close the case on that one. What was I thinking? Don't lie to me. Do you take me for a fool? I know all about it. Oh, quit playing dumb. You know very well what I'm saying is true. Well, I have first-hand accounts that will say otherwise. Let's go with that one. Mother remained steadfast, her gaze piercing into mine, but it didn't take long before she relented, releasing a sigh of resignation. It's called faith for a reason. It's not something you casually discard, like shredding clothes for a different outfit. If you're looking for an apology, you can forget it. I will not renounce my belief to appease anyone's expectations. I'll be damned if you think otherwise. The lingering sound of her final words reverberated throughout the chamber. Look, I honestly don't care what you believe. I just wish you'd been forthright about it. So it is true. Well, I can say I'm not disappointed. Well, I can't say I'm not disappointed. I can only pray in due time. You'll see the error of your ways and return to the truth faith. Well, it goes without saying that you've shattered my trust. I'm sorry, I meant no offense. I hope you'll see the error of your ways, Mother. Your praise are misplaced. My path is unwavering, and I won't yield to dictates of what you consider the one true faith. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to be by your father's side, alone with my thoughts and prayers. Oh god, this is quite a bit. Am I picking a fight with my mother? Why? Okay, so, alright, I'll go. But let me make this crystal clear. Father's legacy and his opinions about me are of no concern. However, I am determined to correct his mistakes by accomplishing what he couldn't. Alright, I'll go. Contrary to your assumptions, you should know that I intend to uphold Father's legacy with the same dedication as Rizia's. That's why I'm steadfast in rejuvenating this nation and paying tribute to his memory. In accordance with his wishes, and do right by him. Fine, I'll go, but understand this. When it comes to legacy, I will forge my own destiny. Just go with the, I'm determined to correct his mistakes by accomplishing what he couldn't. And good luck to you. You clearly know what's best. Well. I'm picking a fight with my mother. Isn't that nice? Picking a fight with my mom. picking a fight with my mom. Should probably do the imposed. They don't like that. It's -3 authority. Change the state religion to Nurity. Branch of Nurity itself. That actually might be a good idea, honestly. Just for further unity among the peoples. We are not going to have anywhere near enough authority, though. It's going to take a couple turns, and I think it's going to be done by then. Sovereign Memorial Commemoration. Mars. King Rama's Taurus of Berkeley. What? Stupid.